What's going on, FPL managers? Welcome to a new video from Fantasy Football Scout. It's the deadline stream, half an hour until the Gameweek 27 deadline. And I'm joined by Ryan, aka Football Chatbox, all the way from Australia. People want a huge amount of commitment here because it's 5 a.m. over there. He's got a cup of tea. I've got a beer. Cheers to you, Ryan. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you. Great to be aboard. First stream.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's great to have you here. And I mean, your season is going pretty well so far, isn't it, mate? Because you're in part of the Fantasy Football Scout Community League in my team that I'm running, and you've been head of the league all the way through the season, 20k at the moment.
Yeah,
you're absolutely flying. So tell us about how your season's been going so far.
So far, it's been pretty good. The last few game weeks, I would say, over the last 10 game weeks, I've been in this 20k rank, a bit more consistent. I was at 1.2k and then had a huge red arrow for one game week, which fell to 20k. And then ever since then, I've just been in that 20k rank, coming close to 10k at times, but not being able to get back in. So the goal for the season will be to try and get back in, but we'll see. It's not easy to get back in.
I think you're in a good place. I think you've got quite a lot of chips left to play,
yes,
so you should be absolutely fine.
Yeah,
I'm feeling quite confident. Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling quite confident about getting top 10k, and I have quite a lot of chips left as well, so you should be absolutely flying. But yeah, Ryan, your insight, just because of that amazing rank, you've also got a YouTube channel, which is at Football Chatbox. So if you guys in the chat or joining us want some extra insight, go and check out Ryan's channel. But let's have a look how you're shaping up for Game Week 27, buddy. And you are not free hitting this week. Nope. And that must be kind of annoying, scary, because a lot of people free hitting, but presumably your chip strategy is just shaping up as this is sort of week you have to get through. So tell us about your team and how confident you're feeling about this week.
Yep. So I initially planned before all the double game week 28, 29 news came out to see through it. So I built my team that I would have to make maybe one transfer to get a full 11 out. And I basically stuck to that plan because I wanted to, I was initially thinking either wildcard in 28 or wildcard in after 30 and probably free hit in game week 30. But with all the double game week news that came out for 28, 29, I'm like, now, okay, I'll wildcard in 28. That means I don't have to play my free hit for game week 30. And I still have 2 free hit chips left. So now I'm thinking free hit in 33 and 36. That way I don't have to worry too much about those double game weeks. And I can focus my team on the single game weeks instead. So that's kind of the strategy. Bench boost is the one chip that I don't know where to play. Because I would like 29 maybe, but it's not a very ideal game week for a bench boost in 29. 28 seems a much more ideal game week for a bench boost, but I'm wildcarding that week, so can't play the bench boost chip that week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for those that triple captained in 26, obviously you had that massive benefit.
Yeah.
But when to bench boost is the clear issue. So I think everyone plays their chip strategy different ways. As long as you play it logically, I think it will work out. But yeah, saving those free hits for 33 and 36, I'm really jealous of that because they will see you through, I think. But yeah, if you do wildcard in 28, best of luck with that. And
thank you.
Yeah, bench boost in 29. It'll be all right. But yeah, let's look at your team for this week. And what a particular player that I have in my free hit is Mr. Livramento. And I am really worried that he won't start.
Same.
I'm really worried. But he obviously had this great return, a clean sheet and assist in the last match. And he's come back. Perro's been injured, of course, but we've heard that Perro's back. But he's only recently back, so he's only had a couple of training sessions. So I'm hoping that he starts right back and Walker Peters goes left back. But who knows? And it's really, really annoying. I'm sure that you're hoping he starts because your bench is pretty anonymous in terms of fixtures.
Yeah, exactly. It's non-existent, and I can't really start first as well instead of Livramento. But I'm hoping he starts Livramento, especially given his last game. He had a pretty good performance. I don't know if he'll start even. He sometimes plays a right wing as well, right? Livramento at times.
Yeah.
So there is that possibility. I mean, I'll take that over
Yeah,
the fullback
absolutely.
position. If it doesn't start, it is what it is. It's an unlucky situation. But yeah, I'm hoping it does start. We'll have to see how it goes though.
It's a really good point about the right mid spot because I am actually from Southampton. That's where I
Mm-hmm.
live, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my friends are Saints fans, and they often say that Livermento's best position is right mid, not right back.
Mm.
So it's an extra string to his bow.
Yep.
Hopefully, it means that he starts this week, and yeah, we don't need to worry about it. But a lot of people on free hit
Mm-hmm.
are opting for Kyle Walker-Peters as a safety option because I think he's probably the more nailed one. Even a boring Bednarek. I know that Sonaldo is going
Yes.
for Bednarek at the moment, which is outrageously boring. But yeah, I don't blame him, to be honest, for 0.1 extra. Really, really difficult. But yeah, Veghorst captain for you. Was that a no-brainer, or were you eyeing up Son or Fernandez as an alternative for that?
Fernandez, no, because of the fact that United are a bit more inconsistent. And before Watford's game against Crystal Palace, I was initially, before all the double game week news as well, I was thinking of even transferring out Fernandez for maybe a Sterling or Mahrez because of the fixtures that City had. But then the Watford game happened and they conceded 4 goals. I was like, okay, I'll keep Fernandez. But I still won't captain him because of the fact that United, I think that fixture is going to be a bit more harder than expected. Before Watford played Crystal Palace, they were decent defensively. If you've seen their last few defensive numbers, it has improved under Roy Hodgson. So I'm expecting a tough game. And United aren't really flying. So I wouldn't captain Fernandez. But Heung-min Son, who have put the vice captain armband, and I think you were also contemplating on giving him the armband. I think he is a good option. Leeds, obviously, not that great defensively. But I've gone for Weghorst because of the double game week. Leicester, not great defensively. They conceded, 23 shots in the Conference League. So that's not really great for Leicester. Crystal Palace might be a much more tougher game because we don't know what Crystal Palace will turn up. Sometimes they keep a clean sheet, sometimes they concede goals. So I've gone for that punt, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a really difficult decision. I was exactly in the same conundrum. Son against Leeds. Leeds are just so honestly. My heart just wants to captain Son all the way, and I can just see him getting a couple of goals in that game. And I don't really know why I'm not captaining him, but
Yeah.
we do get carried away by the 2 fixtures, and it's not necessarily being carried away because it's the sensible option. We've got 180 minutes worth of player, but it's a Burnley player at the end of the day. We're putting quite a lot of eggs in our basket about Vickers scoring like set piece goals from headers, but he hasn't done it yet. His only goal has sort of been a shot from 14, 15 yards out or something like that. So we are counting on something to happen for the first time in the Premier League, I should say. He's been pretty good at it in the Bundesliga, has to be said. But yeah, I'm going to captain Weghorst. I think most people are as well, even if they're not free hitting, because he seems to be like the priority player. I posted something on Twitter actually earlier. Sorry, Ryan. Like only 8.4% of people in the entire game own him. And of course, that's quite low, but obviously there's going to be a hell of a lot of people that aren't active, and I'm sure that percentage is massive when you actually compare it against people that are very active in the game and in higher rank bands. So yeah, I'm going to be very boring and captain Veghorst like you, but I really wish that I should go Son. I really, really wish that. But yeah, I think you don't look past the two fixtures. I think it's a decent matchup for Veghorst.
Yeah, that's the main reason I bought Son in for the hit. Because I was like, it's more damage limitation move. In terms of I rather lose 4 points and bring him for the hit than maybe lose potentially like 12 points or something from Son. So that's one reason. But again, yeah, we're expecting a lot from Weghorst. Again, Burnley player. We know we've been here before with like Dennis and King when Watford had their double. We've been here before when Everton had their double. Now we're here with like Burnley as well. So I'm not really expecting much, but again, it's the double game week player. 2 chances at.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because you often find like you ask that question, what will I regret more?
Yeah.
Not captaining a double game week player, and he goes on to scores in both games, and you go, why? It was such an obvious move. Why didn't I do that? Or you go and captain a single game week premium player like Son, and it's like slightly less predictable, even though the matchup is favourable. But I think I would regret it more if I didn't captain the double game week player and he went on to do well and overthink it. So yeah, I think it's the obvious move. But yeah, I think the rest of the team actually that's not a free hit team at all. As in, you don't have to press that free hit button. I think you're going to get through this game week absolutely fine. And the fact that you obviously sell Salah means that you can enable actually a fairly decent side. So yeah, wildcard in 28, and you can go from there. But yeah, fingers crossed it's not too much of a pain this week. You never know. Your team might come out better against the free hit template. For all we know. Jimenez might have a
Jimenez, Bowen's also there. I've seen a lot of people ignore him. So absolutely. Maybe.
I mean, when I watched Bowen when we were wildcarding in 26, when I was wildcarding in 26, I count myself incredibly lucky for him not to have got a return in that game. And he seems like one of the best option in the entire league at the moment. And it's just because Wolves is a fairly difficult fixture all in all. I think people are just ignoring Bowen. And favourabling like the City double up and all that sort of stuff. With that in mind, let's move on to my free hit team, which is fairly in line with the template, has to be said, if not the template. Triple Burnley with Pope, me, and Weghorst, captain. Triple City with Cancelo, Sterling, and Mahrez. Fernandes is the only Man United representative, and then Son and Kane against Leeds, Breuer and Livramento for Southampton. And it has to be said, the only player that I'm really worrying about is Livramento. I think Sterling and Mahrez, we don't know what Pep's going to do, but I think all of the prediction tools that we have, Emma Jump the Wave, that she does that amalgamation piece, which is really useful, had Sterling and Mahrez in the 90% to start. Luke was in, who also does a Man City prediction, agrees Sterling and Mahrez. I think quite a lot of people are in the consensus that this is probably what's going to happen. So if Pep does something completely different, we can't blame ourselves. We're just doing something with the best that we can. So yeah, for me, the biggest worry is Livramento, as we talked about earlier. But the fact that he also could play right mid, I think if he does start, could be an even better option than any of the other Southampton lot. It's a reason why we owned him at the start of the season, right? Other than his price.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll have to see how it goes, I guess. He's the one issue. But you have Johnson on there in the bench, who could potentially play if needed. I know Az has that issue as well with regards to Livramento. And he's hoping that Johnson does come and start. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm choosing to get the same combination as who's not free hitting. So I don't really know what that says about me, but I could easily go Alanga down to Gilmore and Livramento up to Carl Walker-Peters if I wanted to sort of make sure that I have a starting player from Saints. But the problem is it weakens the bench, and if Sterling or Mahrez doesn't play at all, then I'm not really going to get that benefit from the bench.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'm happy with this team. More or less. If Livramento doesn't play at all, I'll be pretty upset and kind of surprised at the same time. To bench him when he's match fit and he's had an assist and a clean sheet in the last match, I think could be weird. Perro's been fairly decent, but Walker-Peters can play on the left. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. But guys in the chat, if you want to start getting your questions in, we can start answering that. What I want to do actually is just bring up the chart, one of the charts I did back on the Monday show, which just showed some of the free hit contenders. Guys, if you're worrying about like who to get on your bench, if you haven't got enough money, if you're worrying about people starting and you want to downgrade people to like Sancho, like Fernandes to Sancho, or I don't know, Sterling to Mahrez, or any sort of downgrades, this might help you just to visualize that downgrade. Is it that much of a downgrade, or is it worth it? And I think if you're downgrading Fernandes to Sancho, I think there's a perception that Sancho could do well this week. And at the end of the day, it's one game week. Anything can happen, right, Ryan? Like,
Yeah.
anything could happen. We're trying to predict the future here, and normally we try and predict the future in like 4 to 6 game weeks. But when it's quite a lot of free hits riding on this, it's one game week, anything can happen. You can see Fernandes top right there is significantly better than Sancho. Is the saving worth it, do you reckon, if people are trying to save money?
It depends on what you're going to do with that money. If that means you're going to be able to bring in like a Kane or a Heung-min Son, or even like a Sterling and Mahrez City double up, then maybe. But if you're not going to do anything with that money, then probably just keep Fernandes. The other thing I've noticed is when Ronaldo doesn't, I'm expecting Ronaldo to start this game, but when he gets subbed off, then Bruno Fernandes tends to go to that false 9 position for United because we don't have any other striker who comes on and plays. And in those specific scenarios is when Fernandes has got that goal because he's been further forward. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. And also because the fact that I know United have a break, like a week's break between now and the derby. So that's why I expect Ronaldo to start. But there is a possibility that he doesn't play the full 90. Ronaldo doesn't play the full 90. Fernandes moves forward. But yeah, it's a 1 week game again. We're not sure. I mean, Sancho could very well deliver. He's been on really good form. But it depends on what you're going to do with that money, I guess.
I mean, there's no guarantee that Sancho even starts because.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Obviously, Alanga was decent midweek, wasn't he? And a lot of people picking him to start. And whether he comes in instead of Sancho or another player is another matter, of course. But there's still that question to be had. I don't think Fernandes will be dropped at all. I think he's essential to that team. I think Ronaldo probably does start as well because Cavani's still injured and he's important. So it's interesting. Would you drop Fernandes to Sancho if you were upgrading your bench and you had City assets with potential rotation risks? Do you think that's a good use of the money?
If I'm upgrading my bench, probably not, because I don't know like how much can you really upgrade your bench compared to what maybe Bruno Fernandes could deliver.
I don't know.
I probably won't.
Like unplaying players like Simicast at 3.7 that people just want as and a Marty at 3.8. Marty's going to be pretty popular. 3.8 is playing Burnley for Leicester, but if you could upgrade him to the likes of, I don't know, a Saints player or low 4 point something.
Yeah, effectively probably like upgrading, I guess, maybe expecting 2 to 3 points on your bench extra compared to maybe a Fernandes potential haul and possibly penalties in his locker if needed, if Ronaldo is not on the pitch. Probably not. I wouldn't go with that. I would probably keep Fernandes in that specific case. The only time I would downgrade is if you're upgrading your starting 11.
Yeah, I think that's wise. I don't think you can make a decision about downgrading a player just because there's a chance that one of your starting 11 might get benched. I think we just have to play as optimally as we can. And sometimes that's just picking the best players who's going to score the most points. Obviously you're going to have that contingency plan on your bench, but don't go too hard because it's just not worth it. Most of the time you're going to get all of your players playing anyway. Excuse me. So how essential do you think Pope is to this game week? Because a lot of people are considering downgrading Pope to the likes of Forster, who is more likely to play at the back for Saints, and then having a cheaper a second Burnley player. Do you think Pope is essential for this game week?
Is he essential? I mean, if you're downgrading to Forster, then probably don't do that because I don't think Forster is keeping a clean sheet. At best, you're probably expecting maybe 2 points from Forster, if not 1 point, if he tends to concede more. Pope does have a good, if Pope keeps a clean sheet, he most likely accumulates bonus as well, which is also really nice to have from keeper. That's the same thing we see from Ramsdale as well. When Ramsdale keeps a clean sheet, he tends to accumulate bonus as well. So for that reason, I'll probably go with Pope. And I know a lot of managers in the top 10K are also probably going to go with Pope for that specific reason. So I probably would keep Pope in there and not downgrade him. I think he's probably one of the best. And if you were to look at maybe expected points for this game week, he's probably second on that list, just behind Weghorst out of all the players this game week. So I probably will keep Pope there.
Yeah, some people even vying for captain for Pope. I'm not surprised, to be honest. I've
Mm-mm.
got a chart up here that we went through in the Monday video, which just showed in the last 6 game weeks, Pope is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Yes,
Mm-mm.
he's played sort of tougher opposition, which might have increased that requirement for him to make saves and prevent that XG. But Palace and Leicester are fairly decent attacking sides, and I don't see
Yep.
why that would be any different. So Pope's back to his best, it seems, in the last 6 game weeks. Not one to overlook
Yep.
or compromise on, I think. So yes. We've had a super chat from Christopher Wright. Hey guys, Captain Drama, Son or Veghorst? Like the same drama that we were talking about earlier. And just to reiterate what we were saying, Son is an excellent 1 week option, probably one of the best, because I think that Leeds game really suits Spurs in the way that they want to come out and play, they want to attack, and Spurs are probably one of the most effective counter-attacking sides. And Leeds can't defend, can they, Ryan?
No, they can't. Especially with Calvin Phillips not there. There's no way they're keeping a clean sheet. But at the same time, there's no way Spurs are also probably keeping a clean sheet because Spurs also can't defend. It's the $1 million question, Sancho Vegas this week. And I won't be surprised if the captaincy, like the armband in general, is split across those two players in the top 10K and even top 100K. I'm just going with Weghorst mainly because he's a double game week player, 2 chances at trying to get something from it compared to maybe Son. And also just because of how the bonus point system tends to favor the strikers. So if Veghorst can get 1 goal, potentially he gets like 3 bonus. You could potentially see maybe a 9-pointer or 10-pointer from him.
And that's not a bad result. Over 2 game weeks, he seems like he has the highest floor amongst the players because of those 2 fixtures. So I think that's a no-brainer, really. I think most people will go with Veghorst if effective ownership comes into play as well.
Yeah.
Into your decision, if that factors in your decision, then I think Veghorst is probably going to be the most heavily captain this week, and that's going to reduce your volatility in your rank. So that's the sensible option. But I really wish I had the guts to go for Son. I really do.
Yeah, true.
Right, some other questions in the chat. Salah and King to Kane, Rafinha or Saka or Willock for -4. Salah and King. So you could get rid of Josh King. Josh King has been such a disappointment. I think it really depends if you are wildcarding 28. So apparently you're not wildcarding 28. Yeah. So getting rid of Salah, I don't think is that good of a long-term move. That's a really difficult question, Ryan, actually.
Because, that's effectively he's taken a -8 basically, right?
To get Salah back in.
Yeah, to get Salah because you're getting Salah back in. You're just so basically a -8 to just have Kane for this week. If you put it that way, I probably won't do it because as good as the fixture is, so basically Kane will have to get more than your 8 points that you've taken, and also maybe another 5 to 8 points on top of that. So you're expecting at least 2 goals from Kane this week, and a bit more. I guess.
Could happen, but if you look at any statistical model or anything, that sort of thing, it's definitely not going to predict Kane to score more than that. And you know, that I think probably playing optimally, it's not worth it. Keep Salah. You'll thank us later because you'll have Salah for game week 28 and onwards. And obviously Salah has that double game week in 29 again. So I would maybe just look to try and get rid of King or for someone else like Broya if you don't have him already, and that saves a -4. Rahul, no non-free here. Should I get in a Southampton or Wolves defender? Southampton have pretty good fixtures going forwards, don't they? And obviously they have a double in 28. So that's the same for Wolves, isn't it? But who would you prefer out of a Southampton or a Wolves player in the sort of medium term?
In the medium term, from Southampton, initially I would have already have Livramento. Because of his price point is pretty decent. Now, obviously, there's questions over his starting ability. I'm not really convinced by Kyle Walker-Peters or Benderek as much as I would have been in terms of Livramento because of the attacking potential. From Wolves, Size is a good option. I like Size as an option. Obviously, they don't have Semedo anymore. But one thing we might have to consider is Bowley is back, and this question was asked to me, and I was like, I don't know who drops from the Wolves backline to
Probably
fit in Bolly there.
Kilman, maybe.
Maybe, but he's been
Maybe.
having a good season, same as
Yeah.
size. The only safe option is Cody because he's the captain. But like, yeah, it's a bit of a tight one actually. If you look at it, I think maybe you go with Southampton, but then Wolves do play game week 30, and if you're not playing a free hit in game week 30, then maybe Wolves is the most sensible option to go for, given that we don't know whether Southampton playing game week 30 or not.
That's very true. Thinking ahead, sort of 4 or 5 game weeks, we definitely know that Wolves play. So yeah, absolutely. I wonder if there's any late, sort of early team news. I'm going to sort of scroll for it, see if I can get anything. But I'm not holding my hopes up. Alex is asking Rafinha or James Ward-Prowse, and I think that's a really good question because I had Rafinha. I have Rafinha on my wildcard, and when he was dropped in that first match, I was going, oh my god, I'm going to have to move him to James Ward-Prowse. I think both of them are very decent. Obviously, Rafinha is that talisman in that lead side, whereas there are other options at Saints like Breuer, like Livramento that make James Ward-Prowse not the talisman. But I think he's a decent option. I always move away from the James Ward-Prowse sort of player because of the erratic nature when they score. Just absolutely fantastic free kicks that are kind of unpredictable. So I would kind of always go for Rafinha. He seems to be more directly involved in Leeds' ridiculous attacking play at the expense of their defence. So I would favour Rafinha.
In the long term, maybe Rafinha. If you're doing a 1 game week, then I would be slightly tempted with James Ward-Prowse. Norwich are weak on set pieces, if I'm not mistaken. So could work out. If it's doing like a free hit, maybe, then I'm kind of tempted by Ward-Prowse, not going to lie. But Rafinha is a good long-term pick, I guess, out of the two.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's the better option this week for one thing. So, short-term versus medium-term, I think. Johan is asking Son in for Bowen for a -8. My initial reaction is definitely no. I think that assuming that you're already on a -4. Actually, having said that, Son does have a double game week in 29. So if you factor that in, is it worth a -4 over? If you were going to get rid of Bowen anyway, and you're not wildcarding in 28? Does that increase the quality of the move?
Maybe. But then could you, I don't know, it depends on whether they can get Son in for free transfer instead the next week, and what's the reason. Like, it's the same reason for like probably Kane. Oh, well, I guess Kane was the Salah move out. It could work out because Bowen is playing Wolves, and Wolves aren't that like weak defensively. They are pretty solid defensively. And West Ham, on the other hand, don't look great going offensively. It's very reliant on Bowen in terms of them doing something. The other thing is West Ham do have Europa League coming up soon, so there could be rotation there. Focus could shift towards the Europa League. So in the long run, it makes sense. It could pay off. And you might even get your returns back immediately this game week as well, given that Leeds is a much more easier fixture.
Really interesting question. I thought that was a definite no, but it's kind of changed my mind actually.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It could pay out. You never know.
Yeah. I haven't seen any sort of early team news, guys, I'm afraid. So I really just, I think that personally, if I was going to guess, I would guess that Livramento and Kyle Walker-Peters will start at right back and left back. Fantasy Football Scout, Neil is predicting that in the predicted lineups. So, Bednarek and Salisu in the middle. I just wouldn't overthink it. Yes, Perro could come back in, but I think it's probably the less likely of that. Make sure you've got bench, absolutely, but not too good of a bench.
No, just have like 1 or 2 if just in case. But yeah.
Best choice between Kulusevski or Ramsey for the upcoming weeks. I think that's the short-term versus medium-term question again. Yeah. Kulusevski for this week, Ramsey for going forward. So depends on your chip strategy, buddy. Really, like if you're wildcarding 28, then go Kulusevski. If not, then weigh up whether you want Ramsey for the game week 28, which is a double for Aston Villa. But then Spurs obviously have a double in 29. But we really don't know the security of Kulusevski's position. Like Lucas Moura is definitely there and he's going to get game time unless Kulu like turns into some sort of superhero, which I doubt. So, who knows? What's your opinion on that, Ryan, by the way?
Yeah, I agree with you. Short term, you can go Kulusevski. Again, we don't know whether he'll play this game week. Long term, maybe Jacob Ramsey. Again, Aston Villa play game week 30. So yeah, long term, I would go Jacob Ramsey.
Oh my God, it's past the deadline now. I didn't actually check that my team was set up correctly. Let me just check.
Are you sure you hit that?
I hope so.
You hit the free hit button?
Oh, I definitely hit the free hit button. I did that a long time ago.
You won't be able to check now though.
Because it's been processing. You're right. I can't even check. It's been processing. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was fine. Okay. But I did sort of switch Kyle Walker-Peters in back an hour and a half ago. So I think I switched it back. Okay. So Liveramento's in. Elanga's first bench. I think
it's fine. You'll be fine. I hope so.
So you're wildcarding 28, aren't you?
Yes.
And
yes.
I guess the benefit of that is you're going to be able to get on any sort of changes after the FA Cup 5th round and Chelsea if they double in 28. We didn't get that annoying Arsenal versus Chelsea additional fixture in 28. I was really hoping for that. So it looks like it's probably not going to happen. I think I'll probably bench boost anyway with Arsenal playing Watford. But it is what it is. Are you looking forward to wildcarding?
Yes, I will press that button very soon. Probably not today because I need to sleep later. But when I get up, maybe looking towards pressing that button. The other thing is, if Chelsea do get that double game week, they do play Norwich and Burnley. Could be a very tasty set of fixtures. And given that right now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't really see a captaincy like standout captaincy. But if Chelsea get that fixture, then maybe we could probably have a decent captaincy shout there from there.
Interesting. The first person I think of as the best option for Chelsea is Reece James, because Lukaku doesn't seem like he's having the best of times.
No.
And that midfield is a bit of a minefield. Like Mason Mount's back from injury, but is he a captaincy shout? Don't know.
Probably not. Ziyech is also there, so yeah.
It's interesting. We've got the Chelsea carrot, dangling in front of us, but we're not 100% sure on who the best options are, apart from maybe Reece James. So even players that, managers that aren't on wildcard, like myself, could just make a single transfer and just get Reece James in, and that might solve the issue. But yeah, looking forward to bench boost myself. I really did wish for that double game week for Arsenal, but single game weeks go. Watford's not the worst single game week, and obviously Liverpool against West Ham. If you put those guys on the bench, it's not the worst fixture, and it's Liverpool at the end of the day. So yeah, no, it'll be exciting, and we just got to get through this. I'm looking forward to enjoying this game week for once, because it seems like I have the ability to attack it for. My game week last week was to just firefight. It was a wild card. Everyone was on Salah triple captain. It was pretty painful, especially that last game against Leeds. But, fair play for going the obvious route. I scored 130 points, though. That wasn't that bad.
That's pretty good.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I'll be hiding behind the sofa this game week.
Oh no, you'll be fine. I think that team's absolutely fine. You won't be too far behind the free hitters if everything goes to plan for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be all right. I wonder how early we get the early team news. It's normally sort of 10 minutes away from now, 15 minutes before the
actual team news.
The actual team news, yeah. So I don't
guess
know.
We'll find out if Liverament actually starts or not.
I don't know. You could scroll through Twitter and just be like, "Oh, this is the early team news," but it could equally be fake at the same time. But goodness me, let's recap our teams. This was my free hit team. So triple Burnley, Crystal Palace, and Leicester are the fixtures. Weghorst captain. I can't believe it. I'm actually really disappointed in myself that I went Weghorst captain, because when
did you confirm that?
Yeah, I did.
Or did you keep it on? Okay.
No, I'm pretty sure. I confirmed it, but my heart was going Son, head, Veghorst, and my head run out. One out, and I was kind of disappointed in myself. When you want to trust your gut, but you kind of just don't. You just go with the two fixtures. You can feel like a sellout.
I know. I mean, just see double game week news, and we just go, you got to captain that double game week player. And like I keep telling this, don't ignore the single game week players. I keep telling my stream as well, don't ignore the single game week players. And here I am captaining a double game week player from a team who's not that great as well. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is now. We'll see what happens.
So the things we have to get through as free hitters are Livramento, or the Saints guys, Livramento especially, and then the City guys, because I think everyone else is sort of expected to start. Sterling and Mahrez starting would be absolutely fantastic free hitters. I think they were the template option, but I think De Bruyne, you have to sort of pay the premium for security of stars, and his stats aren't even that great.
No, it's not. He's the guy who mainly assists the assister most of the times, and he gets the occasional. When he gets the occasional goal, then he's on all 3 bonus points because of what he does in the game. But for that price point, I think you could probably do better. That's the one game I'm scared about as well, the City one. I just have Cancelo, and that's it. That could be a huge scoreline over there, but we'll see.
You have to get lucky in this game at the same time. I think Cancelo in the last game, I didn't have Cancelo in the last one because we obviously wildcarded, and he was absolutely fantastic, wasn't he? I couldn't believe he didn't end up with like a double figure haul in that game.
I was disappointed with a 1-pointer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it just, the variants will win out, and I think Sterling Mahrez are great, but who knows? As you say, De Bruyne, I think De Bruyne is incomparable to a James Ward-Prowse sort of player. When he does score, it tends to be a really, really decent goal with an absolutely fantastic technique. It just seems less predictable, James Ward-Prowse ×2 sort of thing. And we all know the ability he has, and his assist potential is second to none. So I wouldn't not expect De Bruyne to end up with a decent score this week, but if you can predict Mahrez sort of starting, then he's worth the money, right? I think,
and on pens
is a decent shout as well. So we'll see what happens. Let's go to your team as well, just to remind ourselves. It might stay another sort of 7 minutes until we might get the early team news. And if we don't, then we'll just end the stream. But early team news you'll be good to stay for. I think your likes of Digne against Brighton. Brighton don't set the world alight with their attacking prowess, do they? So
not really. But at the same time, I thought Aston Villa would have been defensively a bit better. But I guess that didn't happen. Digne is that kind of player that I know they have a double in 28, but if Chelsea do get a double in 28, I would immediately swap Digne for Reece James.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Even though Digne has that game week 30 game, I'll just figure something else out for that. It's just that I'm
What's the price difference between Digne and Reece James?
Oh, it's quite a bit, I think. It's 6.2 for Reece James, and Digne is 5.1.
Okay.
But I have the money in the bank to do that. Especially given I was looking at a possible game week 28 team, which potentially saw me benching the likes of Trent, Cancelo, all on my bench. So, and playing the likes of Luca Digne, Livramento. I think there was another defender. I don't remember who. But if I can get Reece James in for Luca Digne, I'll do that immediately.
Interesting, because he has a really excellent double game week in 28.
He does. He does.
It's interesting that you would do that rather than maybe upgrade a single game week player to
because if I was to do, it will have to be because I'm not moving Trent or Cancelo, who would be the single game week players, and because I have too much value stored in them, then it'll probably be between Digne, Livramento, and I think my other one, I have Tierney in my team who will come back. I mean, no, I have Tierney in my team. I could probably do Tierney to Reece James. I think that could also work. and then
Yeah,
play like
because
a back four.
Arsenal's double in 29 is
Yeah,
it's pretty difficult, isn't it, for a
yeah, it is.
defensive player? Like we've watched him the last couple of games, Tierney, and he hasn't created too many chances. I think I'd probably rather have one of the centre backs. So I think Tierney
Yeah,
up to Reece James would be a really decent option. Um, but as you say, Aston Villa haven't exactly been solid at the back. So
yeah.
Dean has been a little bit of a troll, but he does have that attacking threat. He is on a few set pieces now and then. So I think it's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen in the other.
Mm.
Dennis is the one. Dennis is such a troll for me. Like Wildcard has him out and he scored 11 points. And obviously I transferred him in and he got that red card. So it's been really, really dreadful ownership. But clearly you kept him for last week and you experienced that 11 points.
Yeah, I was like, it's a double game week player. I'm not going to remove double game week player, even though I probably expect like 4 points. But I'm happy with 11. There was a question in the chat that asked for like 3 key players for wildcard on 28.
Like it.
Who would you look at?
3 key players on wildcard in 28. So assuming that you want to get through game week 30 without 3 hitting, I think Coutinho is going to be quite an important player.
Yep.
Because he's got a really good double. He's arguably a captain option in game week 28, I would say.
Yep.
And he also plays in 30. And like a decent fixture in 29, I think. I can't actually remember what it is. So I think Coutinho is one of those I think is really key. Why don't we go to you for the second player?
The other one would probably be Rafinha, I would say, 28, as Leicester and Aston Villa, both at the moment defensively not that great.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good option. The third one, it depends, I guess. Can we say Dubravka? I haven't pronounced. I hope I didn't butcher his name.
Dubravka's a really interesting one because I had zero confidence in buying Dubravka. He is in my team, and obviously he's got the double in 28 and 29, so decent. And Newcastle actually have improved defensively recently, so I don't think he's a bad shout at all. Dubravka, like as an alternative to Sarr or Ramsdale, like especially when you're consolidating your attention to 28 and 29 specifically. I think he's an excellent option. It's a really good shout. Other ones you throw in the mix, I mean Jimenez, but he's not that an exciting player, is he really? He's got a decent double though. Crystal Palace at home, Watford at home, really decent double for Wolves.
Broha maybe.
Yeah. Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home, very decent fixtures in 28. And I think Broya's fixtures, like long term, are fairly decent. Like after the double, he's got Watford, Burnley, and Leeds. So really decent. That's more than 3 players, but I think we've covered a decent amount. El Fozzie's asking, why were so many people free hitting this week? I think it's due to the chip strategy, like especially if you're wildcarding. If you wildcard in 26, you're not going to have that many players in 27, especially those who have decent fixtures. The Spurs boys, Triple Burnley, Man City especially. And you're going to go into 28 with a heap load of double game week players. So it allows you to sort of navigate the two or three game weeks with the optimal squads. But if you haven't wildcarded in 26, it's equally just as viable. Like getting 4 premium players is pretty decent, Ryan, isn't it? Over one or 2.
Yeah, that's the thing, because the fact that you have that Salah money that you had in 26 now not there, that kind of creates a lot of space to be bringing. Like you would never have 4 premium players going ahead in the long run just because of what it does to your squad. But for a 1 week punt, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better, especially given the fixtures that they're like the premiums that we're looking and the fixtures they're playing. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, absolutely. Man United against Watford at home, excellent. But as you sort of alluded to earlier, Watford are surprisingly, they're actually good defensively, certainly statistically. I think they're probably underperforming, but still, they're not allowing too many efforts. So it'll be interesting what the result in that match is. But obviously we talked about the Spurs boys against Leeds. I can't see anything but a high scoring win for Spurs. Do you think Leicester? Sorry, do you think Leeds get a few goals in that as well?
Maybe one.
Yeah.
I probably I think they get a goal from there because Spurs defensively haven't been that great. And obviously we have to keep in mind that their form in the last 5 games hasn't been great as well. Stats wise, defensively, Spurs not great. So I do expect one goal from Leeds, given how Leeds like to play. But at the same time, because of given how Leeds like to play, I'm expecting a huge scoreline from Spurs.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it really suits them. Dasmondo in the chat thinks that Dan James is going to haul versus Spurs. You know, he's been pretty decent recently, hasn't he, Ryan? Like, you know, he's got that speed, but actually, the number of returns he's got has actually been flying under the radar to a certain extent.
His numbers are up there, Dan James. The one thing is, like, when it comes to Leeds players, I can only look at like Rafinha. And if Bamford was fit, maybe Bamford, because we know what Bamford is capable of. But apart from that, no one really, even though Dan James, his numbers are showing, I look at like other midfield players and I'm like, oh, some of these other midfield players are a bit more tempting. So probably I'll never probably go there. That's mainly the reason. And also given how his performances were at United, I'm like, not one for me.
In the chat, John saying Maddison has to be surely in there for our Game Week 28 picks. It's an interesting one, actually, because Leicester are one of the few teams with a lot of postponements still to be rearranged. But I don't think Leicester are, in the short term, priorities. No. I think if we can get them in from Game Week 30, that will be a really decent option. And I think, you know, Leicester probably going to have, from maybe Game Week 33, if they reach the next round of is it the Europa League they're in? Or the Conference League?
Yeah, the conference,
Conference, they're going to have like 6 game weeks with 9 fixtures or something. So I think Maddison's going to be a staple in most of our FPL teams, but because they play in Game Week 30, they're one of the few teams that are confirmed already. I think it's absolutely fine to get them in then, not sooner than that.
That's the thing. I wouldn't do 28, 29, maybe 30. You could probably bring one in. Because I saw Ben Krillin also make a tweet where he said if Leicester do go to the next stage of the Conference League, they won't have a double game week until 33. So you don't have to rush to bring in Leicester players. But if you wanted one for game week 30, Maddison is a good option, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll have to wait and see what the FA Cup results are like. We could have some upsets, which could potentially change our minds on how we approach it.
I'm just looking for some early team news. I can't see any just yet.
We're all waiting for the Livramento.
Yeah, exactly. I really want Livramento to play now. But no, nothing's coming out. And maybe Saints don't have that many team news. I'm sure, I'm sure there's someone out there that does, but who knows? I think without that early team news, we'll leave it there. Thank you everyone for joining us in the chat, and best of love. Best of luck for Game Week 27. And we'll catch you next week. Check out Ryan's channel, which is Football Chatbox on YouTube. I'll be back on Monday with a TED Talks video, and we can talk about wildcarding in 28. I think I've got Rob FPL Hall on with me. I think he's wildcarding, and I will be bench boosting. So lots to think about. Thank you, Ryan, for joining me and getting up so early in Australia.
No worries.
Absolute big props to you, my friend. And get some sleep. It's 5 a.m.
Yes, I will be. Almost 6 a.m.
Oh goodness me! Yeah, it's been a while. Love it. Okay, we'll leave it there, chaps. All the best. See you later.
See you guys.